Hi everyone. In this video today I want to continue our series about the ATA and what you need to know about the ATA. If you're either a new shooter that's new to the ATA or you've never shot the ATA before but are considering doing that. So today I want to talk a little bit about what to expect whenever you go to your first ATA tournament, or kind of clarify how things are working if you've been to an ATA tournament before but we're still kind of curious. So let's get right to it. I'm going to go ahead and cover squatting today and how you squat and kind of what that means. I'm going to cover classification and kind of why that's important, and cover a little bit more about your memberships, which I covered in the last video. I showed you how to fill out a membership form in the first video of this series, so be sure to check that video out if you're wondering. So let's go ahead and delve into it here. The first thing that you're going to do whenever you walk into an ATA tournament, and I'm going to assume that you have not got any of your memberships yet. So if you've already got your online membership, you'll pretty well be able to skip this step, your online ATA membership, except for a part of it. So whenever you go to an ATA tournament, you're going to need to fill out your membership form, which once again in the first video of the series I showed you how to do that, so be sure to check that video out. And you're going to fill that form out, and you're also going to need to fill out what's called your state or province membership form if you live in Canada. And so I'm going to go ahead and use the Arkansas State Trapshooters Federation as my example here, since that's where I live. So I have to have an Arkansas State Trapshooters Federation membership, better known as the ASTF, to shoot in Arkansas. So it's going to be a lot cheaper than the ATA membership, I can tell you that. And it's a lot simpler to fill out. And you pretty much have four choices: a youth annual or a youth lifetime, or an adult annual or an adult lifetime. So one of those four is going to be your choice, and the prices are going to vary depending upon the state and depending upon what you chose. So it's pretty easy to fill out, and it won't take you much time at all, and it won't be that expensive. So I wouldn't worry about that or let that concern you at all. But just kind of to clear up some of the finer details of what this membership gives you. It's kind of like the governing body of trap shooting within your state or province, so that's why you have to have the membership. And a lot of times they have like what's called a board, so you have an Arkansas delegate, for example here, an Arkansas ATA delegate, and that's going to be the person like we talked about in the last video, that you're going to contact for information about your tournaments. They're going to represent your state at a meeting in Sparta, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of important, and a lot of times they'll have a meeting at that individual state tournament, and you can get more information there about what's going on in your state in trap shooting, or what they plan on doing for the future, and so on and so on. So but I have to have that membership since I live in Arkansas for me to shoot in Arkansas. I don't have to have an Oklahoma Trapshooting Association to shoot in Oklahoma because I don't live there. So for example, if you live in Kansas and you want to shoot at a tournament in Kansas, you have to have what's called a Kansas Trapshooters Association membership. But if you live in Kansas and you want to shoot in Missouri, you don't have to have a Missouri Trapshooters Association membership. So that's kind of nice that you don't have to buy that membership every time you go to a different state, because that would kind of get to be a hassle, and it get to be expensive if you wanted to do that. So that's a nice thing for sure. And it's a good thing to have that local governing body to kind of help out guide trap shooting in your state or province. So after you get through with all of your memberships, you're going to go to the classification, squatting, and cashiering area. Now let's go ahead and start with classification. What that is you're going to need to bring in your ATA membership card. You're going to get that after you get your membership. They're going to mail it to you, and usually it's either blue or orange card. And if you've got a lifetime membership, it's a gold card. Those are the best kind to have. They look pretty cool. But you're going to need to carry that with you. Now that's going to help the whole process speed up, so it's going to make your day easier. It's going to make the shoot management day a lot easier, and it's just going to help the line speed up, because otherwise you're going to have to write down all your personal information like your name and your address on top of the form, and it just takes more time for everybody involved. The second thing you're going to need to have with you is your ATA average card. Now this keeps up with your average, and you're going to do it yourself. So every time that you shoot an event in an ATA tournament, you're going to write down the score that you shot in that event on your average card. And it has a place on there to carry your average forward as the year goes on. And so that helps, and the reason that helps is the classification desk, they're going to classify you based on your skill level or your average, and they're going to categorize you based on your age. So I'll go ahead and kind of clarify that. So let's say, for example, you're a 99% single shooter. More than likely you're going to be either AA or AAA depending on how many classes the individual tournament is giving out. And let's say that you are 17 years old. You're going to be a junior classification. So, or category, I'm sorry. So that's kind of how that works. Classification is your skill level, category is your age. And you can win in either one, and I'll kind of cover how you can win and how all that works in a later video in this series. So be sure and stay tuned in the series to hear that information, because it's pretty important to know. Otherwise, you're kind of going to be pulling your hair out, if you will, frustrated because you can't figure it out. What you're going to win, you're going to waste a lot of time. Believe me, I've been there. So, but I'll cover that in a later video. Next, you're going to move on to the squatting desk. Now, what the squatting desk is, and I'm going to use my small shoot that I go to at my local club as an example. We have 3 fields. So let's say, for example, you're going to squat on a field, a flight, and a particular squad, of course. So a squad, let's go ahead and kind of define these terms. A squad consists of 5 shooters, and a field is the physical location you're shooting on. So we have field 1, field 2, and field 3 at our local gun club. So we have 3 different fields, so each field is numbered. And then the flight is going to be the wave of shooters, is kind of how I describe it. So you have the first wave of shooters, which consists of the first squad, I'm sorry. The second wave of shooters is going to be the second squad on that field. It's also going to be the second flight, is the more accurate terminology, if you will. So that kind of clarifies that, hopefully, and I'll kind of give you an example later on. And so that clarifies those terms. So let's say, for example, I walk into my local tournament. Let's say I want to shoot on field 1. Okay, so let's say I want to shoot field 1, second wave, or second flight. So it's going to be field 1, squad 4, flight number 2. So that's kind of a little example there, and so I hope that kind of clarified that. And that kind of, it gets easier to understand, if you will, whenever you get to a tournament, because you can see the fields and they'll have a matrix and everything. So, because for example, you could go to Missouri State tournament and they're going to have 60 fields. So, thank goodness they have a matrix. That would be very difficult to keep track of all that. So, at a little 30-field tournament, it's easier to do, and it's easier to comprehend and wrap your mind around. So, just to kind of clarify all that, the field is the actual physical location you're shooting at. The squad is the squad that you're shooting on. So if you're the first flight, you're going to be squad 1 if you're on field 1. If you're the second flight, you're going to be squad 4. So that's kind of how that works there. And then of course you're going to go on to cashiering and pay for all your memberships and your daily fees, which is going to be paid to the ATA and the local governing body of the shoot, whether it's the Arkansas Trapshooting Federation or the Missouri Trapshooting Association, whatever that is that you're shooting at. And they're pretty cheap. Usually they're about $3 each, so you're looking at a total of $6. It's not going to be much at all. And so that's kind of how that works. Plus you're going to have to pay for your event, which is most places probably going to be around $30 to $35 that I've been to. That's a pretty good average of what it is. Now if you're at a bigger kind of a state, bigger championship tournament, or you're shooting 200 bird event, it will be more. So I hope that clarified some questions maybe that you guys had, and we're going to continue this series for sure for another video or 2. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and please subscribe and like the video, guys. Thanks so much for watching.